good, YouTube? It's your boy TooSmooveEli back with another reaction video. Today we have What's Wrong. Oh, I thought this was a fucking... You feel me? I'm stupid as hell. I was wrong again. Bye, Jimmy High Roller. Let's get right to it.
In the world of sports, anything can happen. I remember when this shot went in and thinking in that moment I just witnessed history. Or when this shot had the entire basketball world standing still for what felt like an eternity before falling in and causing a chain reaction of events that would change the course of the NBA.
Man, Katie,
or the exact moment we all knew a 3-1 comeback in the finals was brewing, when we knew something big was going to happen and we would all be there to witness it. But despite all the seemingly impossible feats that we've seen,
I low-key think that clip alone carried Dame's career. No bullshit.
Of all the improbable comebacks and unlikely stories, there is still one endeavor throughout NBA history that has yet to be accomplished. The 0-3 comeback, a deficit that 150.
I think this video was made whenever the bum Celtics could have did it.
None of them managed to pull off, including the team that I bet on.
The Heat are going to the NBA.
And it's so crazy because that it was so planned. It could have been so great. But Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum was ass.
Today's video is sponsored by
SeatGeek. Sponsor me, man. I would love to, you know, I can get y'all some
Boston Celtics were given a 12.5% chance of winning the series. Odds that seemed unrealistically high considering no team has ever pulled off the dreaded 0-3 comeback. But after rallying together and rattling off 3 of the most important wins of their season, the Celtics found themselves with an opportunity to make history.
Come on now. Gonna just sit there and play lights out 3 games in a row, then do that shit on game 7. That's the shit I be hating, bro.
Last second buzzer beaters to win game 6. They had all the momentum. The Heat were deflated. Everything was in Boston's favor.
Bro.
My playoff prediction had somehow been resurrected. Hope was still alive.
Trash.
And so what did the Celtics do?
Boom.
They put together one of the most piss-poor performances I've ever seen in my life. If you never hear me utter Jaylen Brown's name on this channel again, do not wonder why.
Nigga is trash
Here's an idea. Learn how to dribble a basketball and stop shooting threes. And I would give Jason Tatum a pass for his Game 7 performance since he was playing on a bum ankle, if he didn't shoot 2 for 18 from 3 in his last 3 games.
No excuses, bro. He's dog shit.
11% from 3 in consecutive.
He's terrible as hell.
Elimination games. Brother, hit a shot.
He's terrible,
don't
bro.
Even get me started on Caleb first team All-NBA Martin. God forbid he just plays like a normal player against the team that I bet on. No. He has to morph into a human flamethrower for 7 games and rip the hearts out.
But what's so funny about that is where's his little trash ass now? Oh, for 7, you sorry bum ass nigga.
Fans are left after this.
Swear y'all be some trash,
bro. Seen Caleb splits from the Eastern Conference Finals. 19 points per game, 60% from the field, and 49% from 3. That's 74% true shooting percentage for the series.
Bro hasn't even scored yet against the
Nuggets. $1 million a year and outplayed Mr. $100 million contract.
Garbage.
All NBA Jaylen dribble off my foot Brown.
Garbage.
I'm sick to my stomach. But I gotta give credit where credit is due. The Miami Heat are tough. They've got a great team with a bunch of guys ready and willing to do whatever it takes to win. There's no ego, there's no drama, it's just great basketball. A few weeks ago, I said that as sports fans, we love the underdog story, despite the fact that it very rarely happens. Well, it just did. Because the Miami Heat are just the second 8 seed in NBA history to make it to the NBA Finals. The last team
y'all taking that 8 seed thing too serious.
In the lockout season of 1999.
Like really
too serious. The Heat have done this postseason has actually never been done before. Because the worst regular season team to ever make the finals in the modern NBA were the 1981 Houston Rockets, who somehow made the finals despite having a losing record in the regular season. But this year's Heat team is the first team since the 1959 Minneapolis Lakers to make the finals while carrying a negative point differential throughout the regular season, which means the Heat were essentially a below average team that somehow made it to the NBA Finals. So how does a team with absolutely no business...
They played against the Bucks, who are a trash team. They're a trash team, but like I said, in a league full of trash teams, they're number 1 seed. But they're trash. They only have Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, a here and there Drew Holiday, and a run and dunk man. Come on. They do have other players too. Never mind. They have a nice roster. I'm not going to cap. They have a nice roster, but that series they played like shit. Then they played against the Jalen Brunson. I'm not saying a team name or any. They played against Jalen Brunson and Jalen Brunson only. Then against the Celtics, they played against. Did anyone on the Celtics hoop? Marcus Smart and Derek White. They played against a team leading of Marcus Smart and Derek White. Like, let's stop making it like they really doing something.
Even leaving a mark on the postseason, managed to make it to the final stage just 4 wins away from an NBA title. Well, I want to take a moment to touch on a subject that I don't think gets talked about enough. The alpha. You know how in modern NBA discourse, whenever anyone brings up Mamba mentality, they're laughed at and dismissed like whatever they're referring to doesn't actually exist, or that it's even a misconception of some sort. To this day, especially older fans of the game will talk about how the greatest players of all time had the, don't make me say it, killer mentality. Over the years, this was a critical talking point among NBA fans on why some players found success in defining moments while others continued to fall short.
This
narrative in particular began to
these people is trash, bro. I don't even like looking at them, bro.
Sometime over the last half decade or so, as any player who didn't win a title was labeled as soft or lacking the killer mentality, despite there being about a million other factors that were failed to be considered. But we just saw firsthand what grit and determination and integrity and this elusive killer mentality that we've been dismissive of for years can do for a player and a team.
He's getting carried.
Is Jimmy Butler more talented than Jason Tatum? No. And it's
clearly
not particularly close. Is Caleb Martin nearly as talented as Jaylen Brown?
Way better.
Well, after this last series, I'd sure as hell say so.
Way
but
better.
Really, no. Jalen is the far more talented player.
Hell no, Jaylen Brown is awful.
And Max Strus be starting throughout an entire conference final series? Well, if talent was the deciding factor, then no. But
nah, that is talent. Them bum niggas that overrated all-stars, that's not talent. Jaylen Brown ass. He's not talent. This is real talent.
To win,
niggas who
hoop. No excuses, rises to the occasion, and has the guts. No, the audacity to take on any challenge that stands in front of him. That
nigga, he dropped 13 points off 10 free throws.
Everyone on your team begins to believe, even if it's irrational, that they too are capable of anything. One of the reasons why I have Kobe Bryant ranked so high among my all-time greatest players, among other reasons, was his attitude towards the game. His fearless approach to whatever or whoever stood in his way was at times a fault, sure, but it was always daring and unashamed. Kobe missed a lot of shots, but one thing he never did was be afraid to take them. Not even for a moment in his entire career did he ever doubt himself. Kobe, similar to Michael Jordan and what we're seeing in Jimmy Butler, was the alpha of all alphas. If they were on your team, winning was not guaranteed, but one thing that was certain was that if they're going down swinging. What I saw from the Celtics, and even on a larger scale throughout the league, is almost some sort of mass extinction of the killer mentality.
Jason Tatum
we always talk about talent and potential and skill sets, who can get a bucket, but what about the guy who refuses to lose? How many of those guys exist in today's NBA?
None.
Sure, Jason Tatum is talented, but is he truly willing to go to hell and back to win?
Nigga averages 5 turnovers.
A player who possesses an unshakable will to win at all costs, a killer mentality, is not just some sort of myth built up on nostalgia or personal bias or narrative. It is a real, tangible thing. It's funny because Jimmy Butler isn't nearly the best player in the NBA, and yet we can't help but to see shades of Michael Jordan in him when he's on the court. It's not because he's an era-defining talent. It's not because he can defy gravity or inspire an entire generation. It's because he's a winner, a leader, the bedrock of what every championship team needs. He backs up every word that comes out of his mouth. He doesn't make excuses.
Bro, people be taking that Kobe mentality shit to the extreme.
By example, and he will do anything to win. And this isn't just some reactionary take on the outcome of these games. Even if the Celtics won this series against the Heat, I still think the vastly talented duo of Tatum and Brown, like many other players, would have accomplished it off of sheer talent and possibly execution. But what happens when the shots stop falling? What happens when the defense figures you out and your bag isn't enough?
So bad.
What happens when it gets quiet and everyone's looking at you, waiting for an answer? Whenever a
You
player
get 5
or a
turnovers.
team wins, the
They go,
reaction
8
is
for
always
23.
the same. Excitement, joy, relief. But you might find out a lot more by paying attention to how a player reacts.
That nigga wore a mask for half the season to go 0 for 20 in the
When they
fucking
lose,
playoffs, bro.
you can't take this. Are
Nigga
they
wearing a useless
genuinely
mask.
upset?
Got
Are they
picked in his
hell-bent
nose by his
on
teammate.
getting
Y'all
better,
niggas is trash.
being the best? Sure, there's not a single player who takes joy in losing, but what about the player who is tormented by loss? If a player lacks this quality, I'm not sure if talent will simply fill the gap. I don't know. There's just something about a player who cannot accept losing. You know it when you see it, and you sure as hell know it when you don't. Either that, or I'm just mad that the team that I bet on fell short of a championship for the 2nd season in a row. I hate the Celtics.
Lost by 20 in Game 7, man. Could have created history and then created history. But if y'all like, comment, subscribe, check everything down below.